Hey Booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here with the final saga, I promise, um, regarding my recent experiences over the last few weeks with my local used bookstore. I do want to say, I realize that some of you live in places where there are no bookstores, there are no little free libraries, and so I do recognize the fact that I'm lucky that there is a used bookstore where I live, and there's also an independent bookstore that sells new books. I have made 2 previous videos about my experience and the just absolute absurd policies of my local used bookstore. So I will link to those down below because I don't think you're gonna fully appreciate or understand this video unless you watch the other 2. So essentially, I mean, I took books to the used bookstore. They told me what the policy was. Then they did not enforce the policy. Then when I came back and brought more books, then the policy was explained once I was gonna get something. This week on Thursday, I waited, it was a week from Saturday that I had the most recent experience in the used bookstore. And then I waited until Thursday to call to try to like calm down, right? Pull myself together. And of course, the person I was talking to was not the employee that I had dealt with, which probably wouldn't have resolved anything, right? And it probably just would have made me angrier. But unfortunately, it also wasn't like the owner, a man, like anyone with, in a position of power, I guess, maybe I'll put it that way. And I explained to this woman who has been completely outside of my whole experience, like how the policy was explained to me. And, she said, no, we've never had that policy, which again, when my husband and I moved here more than a decade ago, we asked about their used book policy and we were told something completely different from what I was told and from what the actual policy apparently is. And this woman further went on to explain their policy regarding hardcovers, which I could make an entire other video about. I'm not going to, but it was just another, I'm like, this is insanity. Like, don't have so many, like, I told her, I said, I feel like you have so many rules and restrictions. You are like this policy, and again, I tried not to use the word you, like I tried to say like the bookstore or the owners are driving people to shop online, to buy things online. And I used the example of the book I was going to buy, Austenland by Shannon Hale. It said on the inside $10 and then underneath $5, and I had $30 of credit, which was nothing in comparison to the cost of the books I gave, but it did free up some space. So I had 4 conversations with this woman. The first time she had to get off the phone because there were customers waiting, and I intentionally did not go into the store because I did not want to voice my grievances. There's no privacy there. And there's like usually, like I said, there's usually one employee there. So there's no privacy. I don't want to air this out in front of their other customers. And I also felt like I could keep myself better in check on the phone than if I was actually in the bookstore. And so we got off the phone because she had customers to help. She called me back and she was basically like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want me to do? And I said, why don't you give me a $30 credit, which essentially would be like buying like 3 hardcovers, right? I mean, like I wouldn't get very much back. I did also suggest that I could come in and I would collect all the books that I had donated to their store to get those back. In hindsight, I don't know why I just didn't give those books away to all of you. so I won't be making that mistake in the future. But yeah, once I started telling her, and again, it was Thursday, I was having this conversation, and I donated the books, I essentially donated the books on Saturday, and I started naming the books off, and she's like, well, I don't know if those are all still here. And I was like, yeah, because you've made money off of them. Anyway, so that was not possible. I asked for a gift card. She's like, well, it's not in my power to do that. And the owners aren't here, but I'll call them and then I'll call you back. So that was the second phone call. She calls me back. She said, the owners essentially were just like, no. Like, it doesn't matter that the policy was not explained nor enforced on your first visit to the bookstore. You're just stuck, basically. Like, they didn't offer any other solutions. I mean, if they had said, we'll give you $20, we'll give you a $20 gift certificate, I probably would have taken it, you know? Because now I'm going to have to get online and find all the places that this bookstore is reviewed and try to alert people that, hey, like, the credit policy is really complicated and you're going to have to pay cash every single time you visit that store. You're never going to get to be like me and walk out of the bookstore with 2 poetry collections that I only used credit on, and I should have had to pay $8 for these books. So we're again like wrestling with this policy and how complicated it is. And I was like, why don't you just have a section? I brought up a lot of the suggestions that some of you have given me in the 2 previous videos. You know, like, why don't you have just a section of these books? You can't use, there's no credit. You just have to buy these books for whatever price we have listed on it. And then sell your mass market paperbacks, you know, or have a section that's like, these books are $1 and $2.50 or whatever. I don't mind hunting around a little bit. I also brought up to her, there's a John Grisham book that I wanted earlier, I think on my first trip to their bookstore, and I should have seen the signs. I should have seen the signs then. But anyway, I did not get the John Grisham book because I can get it from the library. I don't need to own it. But they had 2 copies of it in mass market paperback. Now, this is Marjorie Morningstar by Herman Wouk, which I got in a little free library. So I didn't pay anything for this book. You can see the spine is pretty beat up. So at least one of the John Grisham paperbacks was in this kind of condition. Okay, is beat up, is old. One of them, like I said, I don't know. You might be able to read it once before it falls apart, maybe twice. And probably I would have just taken that to a little free library, but they wanted $4 for that book. And so if you had credit, you could use $2 of credit, but you still had to pay $2. And I'm like, do you want to move any of your inventory? Like, how long do you want these books to sit on the shelf? Because nobody's gonna, I mean, I would never, if I had seen this in their store, and I like Herman Wouk, I loved The Cane Mutiny, I wouldn't pay $4 for this. And I didn't. I got it for free. But anyway, so I explained to her, like, you know, some of my frustrations again. And, and she was like, well, you know, mass market paperbacks, she starts talking about the new mass market paperbacks that are larger. And I was like, that is not what these books were. These were not larger. I am familiar with the larger format of mass market paperbacks. And I said, that is not what this is. It was like a merry-go-round. We just went round and round and round. And I was so sad because I really wanted to make a video with like a resolution and a positive outcome. And, you know, I'd like to be able to support a local business. But I'm just so frustrated. You know, it was their mistake that I didn't understand. And she said, well, did you get a copy of the written policy? And I was like, no. I said, no one has ever offered me a written copy of the credit policy, which again is just so convoluted. Like, I mean, it's probably multiple pages long. So it's just, oh, so frustrating. And you guys, I really had you all in mind. I was really trying to keep my cool. And so finally I just was like, look, you guys need to train the weekend employee better, because she's not explaining the policy properly. She's not enforcing the policy. And then when people come back, and she clearly recognized me when I came back, and she did not tell me, she did not come forward and say, oh, you know, those books that you got with credit last time, like, I really should have charged you. Like, that is what our policy is. Like, even then and so, because I brought books the second time I went, and so if I had known that, I might have said, no, I'll just keep these. I'll just hold on to these. Let me go put them out in the car. Because if I only had, you know, $12 of credit there, all right, that might be one thing, but $30, you know, that's just more significant amount of money. And oh my gosh, you guys are not gonna believe this. I mean, I told her, I was like, you know, I've heard people in your store who have over $100 in credit, over $300 in credit, and she told me, we have clients who have over $1,000 in credit. It was just like, oh my God, like, so crazy to me. It is so crazy to me, because those people who have given them so much inventory, so much stock, they're still going to have to pay, like, let's say they had $1,000 in credit, right? They could spend whatever they're gonna buy. They could spend $500 probably on eBay, maybe even less than $500 on eBay, or someplace like Pango, or I don't know, a whole variety of places, like thrift books. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of places they could go to get those same books and not have to give the used bookstore a bunch of valuable books that are, you know, gently used or whatever. I mean, it was absolute. I couldn't believe it when she told me. It was like, over $1,000. These people are gonna have to pay you that much just to get what they want out of the store. It's just mind-boggling. And so anyway, I finally, like I said, I was encouraging her to train the weekend employee a little bit better. And as I'm hanging up the phone, you guys, as I'm hanging up the phone, so I hear her still start to talk as I'm hitting click. I'm hitting the little red button. And I was just going, oh, no, I can't do this. It's not this woman's fault. It really isn't her fault, although I don't feel like she tried very hard to find some kind of resolution for me. But nonetheless, so I did call back and I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want you to think that I hung up on you. And she seemed to really appreciate that. So I have all of you to thank for that, for reminding me that I need to be kind to other people. Thank you guys for watching this series of videos. I hope that I don't have to make any more videos about the used bookstore. My husband and I are still talking about what to do with our credit, and if we're gonna go back in and maybe pick up something for a bookish friend. So if there is something that you have been searching for a really long time, you can let me know in the comment section. You can send me a message on Goodreads, Instagram, lots of places. And I also want to tell you a new feature about my channel, which is my Ko-fi page, which I've had the Ko-fi page up I've started it sometime this year, and now I am putting bonus content on my Ko-fi page that is not really worth like a whole Booktube video. They're going to be shorter videos, but they're definitely going to be behind the scenes kind of thing. So I might talk about an event coming up or like a project that I'm working on. I might tell you some things that I wouldn't share on YouTube necessarily, but I want to make sure that you understand you do not have to give me a tip at all to access any of that footage. It's completely free. You can follow me without making any kind of donation, and to get updates when there's new content on the Ko-fi page. I don't know how often that content is going to be on there, but I'm gonna try to keep, especially because they're going to be shorter videos. So again, unlike my used bookstore, you do not have to pay for any of that. It's just kind of stuff I've dreamt up for. I'm calling them my super fans. So by all means, there's an introductory video that's like 2 minutes long up right now. You can check that out, and hopefully there'll be a new video up soon. So I love interacting with you in the comments section. I do realize maybe you feel like you've said everything you have to say about used bookstores, but I will be getting online at some point to alert people and make people aware of this used bookstore's credit policy. I feel like I at least can try to spare someone some of what I've gone through. But I would love to hear from you in the comment section. And again, if you just want to say hello, or if you don't feel like you don't have any more to say, you can give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You can also always leave just an emoji in the comment section as well. I get it. Thank you guys for being on my used bookstore journey with me, and probably won't have any videos about the used bookstore in the near future. So, all right, Booktube, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to chatting with you down below, and remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.